Kyran here with another spoiler warning. This week we have Marvel, so Spider-Man and Endgame, which I'm pretty sure almost everyone has seen those by now, as well as Naruto and Haiku, the volleyball anime. Also, a little bit of apology, my recording system did not work this week, so we are using the audio from Steel, and I sound obscenely loud on hers, so keep that in mind. Hello and welcome back to the Infinite Agenda. We have been on hiatus once again for a couple weeks, but hey, life happens. So we're continuing our tier debate on Resolve. This will be part 2. If you want to know like some of the details on how like this entire thing's laid out, just go watch episode 1. That's in order. But anyways, Steel will take us away and introduce us to the first character that we're discussing today.
Alright, first up, we actually have Choji from Naruto, obviously. And does anybody have
What's his
initial
last
thoughts
name?
on Choji?
I was actually just thinking, what is his last name?
Choji Akamichi?
Akamichi, yeah.
Akamichi. I missed a syllable. Close.
Sometimes
very
it's not
important syllable.
enunciated, so.
Thank you.
Alright, but
See.
initial
No problem.
thoughts.
Actually, what I'll say is, let's just do him off of what's in the picture, that one event. Other than that, to be honest, he doesn't have any chances to show Resolve.
Right.
So just from that event, it's actually quite high. I'm thinking, well,
I would not say any
actually,
higher
no,
than
I'm
A.
thinking-
B
well,
or A.
no, I wasn't thinking higher than A. I was thinking
Okay.
B or A.
I'm
Now
initially
that
going to
you
put him
say
here,
it,
and we can change that as needed.
because if you look at just Neji's situation alongside that at the same time, it was obviously more resolved than Choji, so he
By
can't
far.
be an S, obviously.
Oh.
My initial thought was A. I can see me being swayed to B, though.
I'm willing to go to bat for A. I think
Okay.
that, because here's the thing. Consider who we have in B so far. We have Zabuza and Haku both. And our
Yeah.
reasoning for Zabuza and Haku being in B tier was that their resolve was mainly of a physical
Mhm.
nature and less of a mental, emotional, spiritual, etc. sort of nature. And that their motives for their resolve weren't very pure. They were mostly self-centered. Haku's a little less than Zabuza's. But Choji, in fact, his resolve is actually for a less self-centered reason, a more
Yeah,
altruistic
exactly.
motivation. And he was also willing to sacrifice himself for the sake of others. In this case, for the sake of some people he didn't even know that well.
Can I say something? Okay.
No.
It was my understanding that the red pill was supposed to maybe kill you?
Potentially,
supposed to
yes.
kill him.
I thought it was, because so he made that choice basically.
Right.
That this guy needed to be stopped and chose to take the red gumball.
It's
or,
a soldier pill.
Pill. It was a pill.
You mean
Well,
the
it's
black
a
pill?
special.
Or no, not
Oh
blue
yeah,
pill,
it
like
was the black one, wasn't it? Because he had like
See, I said black, but it's
Red
red.
was
It
the
was
basic
black in the
soldier
manga.
Okay, how dare you?
So it was. Yeah, that's what I was
First
thinking.
of
So
all,
maybe it was red, but it was black.
For
and,
not
the
saying
black and white.
manga.
Exactly. I know it's manga.
It's not a mango.
Mango.
I didn't
Okay.
say mango, I
It
said
was black and
manga.
white in the mango.
Can't tell the difference? Jeez.
So
I'm
anyway.
honestly, semi-related topic, not really. I'm honestly considering moving Zabuza down to C.
Okay.
I could see that.
Because,
Okay. Yeah. Glance at.
I don't know, like his pain threshold for him,
It would
I think
be
it was just
a
high,
high
period.
C, but I
It
could
was
see.
just a physical resolve. That was the only.
He's a
reason I
drink?
said beer. B. Wait, a drink? I said beer.
No.
Right as you said that, I was trying to say B.
I was
He
referring to
talking
her
about
saying
high
that she.
C. Oh lord.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Maybe I was
Yeah,
trying
I'm
to say
okay
B
with that.
tier.
I'm okay with that. Is everybody else okay with moving him down?
Well, hold on. Let's look at our list. I know it's blocked for the video, but
Yeah,
see if anybody would be lower than Zabuza, because for one, I see one,
the last
but I
one,
also see
in my opinion.
yeah, and I see another one. So that's why I was thinking. I don't know. It's odd.
People can still
I
be
think-
ranked within
I mean,
their
you can
tiers, so
Add a D tier if you
I
need
think
to.
Zabuza definitely deserves to be in B.
I think
The amount of resolve at the end is quite a bit.
I don't
I'm
know.
still okay with B because I know people with less resolve than Zabuza in the list here.
Sage.
We'll see.
3 minutes
Yeah.
ago. I think we should move Zabuza down to C. Sage now. I'm okay with B.
I didn't.
That
What was the
That
point
was
of the last
Kyran.
few minutes?
That was
No.
Kyran.
That's
Was it
Kyran.
really?
No, it was Sage.
You're losing your mind.
Kyran, stop.
Was not. I actually am the one that put him on this list in the first place.
I mean, yeah. Okay, but
So anyway.
back to Choji.
Anybody have a problem with him being an A or a reason he shouldn't be an A?
I don't know.
We don't have to spend a truckload of time on him. It's just the one event.
All he did was
I
decide to
went-
risk his own life to try to win the fight and protect
say
his
almost
comrades in the
forfeit.
mission.
I went and I rewatched, like, I watched just that scene.
Mhm.
So I'm obviously missing some background as of recently. But that being said, like, I feel like a lot of these characters risk their life in a fight once or more than once.
Right.
So I think we also kind of have to consider the amount of resolve they've shown, like, throughout their character development, not just in one moment. Because, like, if you say, well, they deserve to be up higher because they risked their life in one fight, I feel like most of these characters have.
Okay, but
Okay.
Oh wait,
So
no,
here's the thing.
she's
No, there's
right.
more context. There's more context to Choji, though, and Athena's not as familiar with that because she hasn't gotten
So that
as
was my
far
question.
in. But you guys remember the story arc, post Asuma, story arc with Choji?
Kind of. I don't know exactly
That
what
was
point you're getting
also
at.
pretty high resolve. My point is that it wasn't a one-off situation.
Okay.
My point is
I
that
don't know.
at pretty
With
much
Choji-
any point in the series past this initial point, he had that level of resolve.
I guess it's just not shown as clearly throughout the entire. Because we look at Kurashima right next to him.
Yeah, that's what I was just about to point
He
out.
has like resolve always. Like I never see him without resolve, to be honest.
He has
Alright.
self-doubt issues, but he always pulls through in the end.
I cannot imagine Choji being lower than Kirishima, is what I was just about to point out.
That's fair.
I'm almost thinking if we need to drop. Okay, if you look at the difference from Gon and Choji, which is noticeable, and Kirishima and Gon, that's also noticeable. Maybe we shift everybody down one and add a D tier. So A is empty at the moment, Kirishima and Choji would be in B, and then they would be in C. If you guys think about that, because like
Oh, that's true. Because there's a very large gap
it's a
between
gap
them.
between Gon, Neji, and Choji and Kirishima is good. Like
So,
it's large.
More specifically between Gon and those two. I
Yeah.
think.
So
I have to make changes here.
that's fine. Are you guys all okay with that?
I think we have to remember with Choji, his past, he doesn't have a lot of resolve because if you look how often he was just like not fighting or
Right.
refusing to
not
have confidence to
motivated,
fight
whatever. Yeah. So
because he was lazy and only cared
And
about
he
food.
didn't really have like this defining moment. It was just sort of over time he got a little more resolve, I think, until about this point. Whereas with
I would argue
Kirishima,
that he would at least go down a tier.
he had that one moment where he just
Maybe we
he could not act.
maybe,
and-
but we're talking about Choji compared to all the ninjas. Yeah, it's okay.
I'm comparing him to Kirishima.
If you just compare him to Kirishima, it's still like unbelievable resolve. He just basically forfeit his life by taking the pill.
Yeah.
So I
I
can't
guess it's just
imagine
hard for me to
lower.
imagine it because like
It's the
the
spectrum of
the-
My Hero versus Naruto.
it's hard for me to imagine it because the show didn't really make it seem like Choji was going to die.
Yeah,
The manga certainly did, though.
the manga did. He said I think it was Shikamaru saying if he takes the last pill, it is basically
Pretty much.
forfeiting his life.
Yeah.
Okay, I said we put him in B behind Kirishima, in my opinion.
That's fine.
Does anybody have any objections to that?
I'm okay with it. Because you also, if we are kind of considering the spectrum of the show's differences, they get more damaged in generally in Naruto than My Hero. Whereas
Naruto has a lot
Choji
more
got
death. than
Clearly
My
more
Hero as
damage
well.
than Kirishima in that scene.
So holding characters to the standard of willing to die or lay down their lives it means something different in My Hero than it does.
But I'm okay with that. What do you guys
Right.
think?
Yeah,
See,
I'm okay
right.
with it.
Okay.
All right. So moving on, we have Tony Stark from the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
I'll
Anybody have
elaborate on it
initial
a little bit.
thoughts?
I haven't really thought of a number yet. Go ahead and stay with A, actually, for now.
That's good that you
Set
haven't
him
thought of a
there.
number because we're doing a letter scale. Right.
He's a 15 out of
Ah.
an SS to D scale.
Okay. No. So if we look at just the contribution, now if you put it on a math table, saving half the universe for your own life, it's an easy answer. But if you look at the actual result, which is saving half the universe, it's obviously more than anybody on this list has done. So the actual byproduct is a lot larger. So it's an odd scale. If you see what I'm saying?
I wouldn't compare him to Minato, but what I will say is there are some similarities to Minato. Although obviously not to the point of sealing something inside your own child.
Yeah.
He had to give up
Give
his
up his
future.
life almost exactly like Minato. You're right.
Yes, with his own daughter and his own wife. But unlike Minato, he didn't have the opportunity or chance to see them again. Like he won't.
Well, I would also say that it's a little worse in his situation than Minato for one reason, and that is Minato was in a frame of mind that he knew, as Hokage, there could come a day when he had to sacrifice his life
Yeah.
for the sake of the village. Tony Stark had tried to retire. He was trying to live
Many
a peaceful
times.
life. Well, he had succeeded for like 5 years.
Yeah.
And he was trying to live a peaceful life. He had a daughter. He literally lived out in the country away from people because he was done with the whole thing. And he came back. Not only did he come back, but at the end, he gave himself up to save other people. So, yeah, I mean, that is a little different than somebody who's still actively like, yeah, this is my life. This is what I have to be prepared to do.
Still an
Yeah.
insane scene.
I know, and okay, if you think
I
about it
cried
from like
so hard.
his mindset is he doesn't realize the whole situation until, of course, Doctor Strange like holds his finger up. Then it's just like you have to accept it. Like, oh, this is what I have to do, and there's no choice, But to be able to fight Thanos, basically 1v1 with just accepting that in your mindset, is
After
really-
already losing to him a couple times in the past.
yeah, and
And
then
he
it's like,
didn't
well,
really hesitate either.
you have to mentally
Nope.
like accept it and be able to basically steal the stones without noticing.
Stealth.
So I don't know, because I'm kind of torn between S and A.
I was thinking the exact same thing.
I might argue for S. I think
I
considering
have
the
no problem with
fact
that.
considering the fact also that you have to understand these are very different universes. Everybody else we've had on the list so far has been from anime, whereas Tony Stark is from a live action based on
Yeah.
comic books. It's different rules. The
Because he doesn't
plot
get
lines tend
damaged
to be
and stuff, he
different.
doesn't lose arms and stuff. But yeah,
Right. So I would argue that given all
I
of
would-
those considerations, S is okay. I'd put him behind Neji, but I think in S.
So
I would-
actually, I was going to agree because I was going to say the reason we put him behind Neji. I got this point of view from watching a.
Wait, are you gonna spoil anything for Athena? We're trying not to spoil any major Neji related plot for
Why?
Athena.
Athena, do you know what happens to Neji?
She does not.
Yeah. Okay. Good. Make sure you can't hear us. So I actually got this train of thought from the Red versus Blue show, the Halo Machinima.
okay.
And one of the characters at some point has to sacrifice himself for everyone else. And it was building up to this epic fight scene. But instead of seeing the fight scene, the character's like, yeah, one of the sad things about when you sacrifice yourself is you have no idea how it turns out. And ain't that a... And I was like, that's a good point. So, Tony, he knew how it was going to turn out. He knew that when he snapped, he could fix it. He knew that it would be fixed. Neji, when he gave up his life, when he sacrificed
yeah.
himself for Hinata and Naruto,
No guarantees.
he had no idea if they were going to win. He knew that Naruto would have the ability to save everyone and to defeat the enemy, but he didn't know.
No,
So, like,
I
to
mean,
be able to give yourself up and to, like, take yourself completely out of the equation without the knowledge that that's going to guarantee. It's...
yeah. I mean, there could have been another wave of spikes, basically seconds after that one, that wiped Naruto out.
And
He
it could
didn't
have
know.
been for nothing.
Right, so that's why I would put Tony right behind Neji. Because it's still an insane amount of resolve, but...
I'm good with that.
I
Athena,
agree
you
with that.
still there? All right, we're done talking about it.
Okay, is everyone okay with that ranking then?
Yeah.
Alright. Moving on, we have Hinata Shoyo, from Haikyuu, and both Ledge and myself insisted that he be on this
All
list,
right.
even though there was pushback.
I will make the argument for SS.
Volleyball court is
not
I don't
battlefield.
need a nuclear above SS for this.
I don't
You're not
stand with
I'm
that.
playing, of course.
I'm not affiliated with you.
She's
not
got him
doing
in the
an
right
F tier.
tier already. Go ahead.
So
Okay.
wait. So what makes resolve when someone
Welcome to my TED Talk.
when someone is attacking has to deal with an enemy that's obviously much more stronger, much more powerful than them, they have resolve by not deterring what they do. They don't get discouraged. Their mental acuity for this fight isn't
Okay.
thrown off by this uphill battle. But that's exactly what Shoyo did,
And
In what
and
situation?
quite against it.
okay,
Quite a big fight.
I would add on to this, and keeping in mind we can only discuss up to the first half of season 4 of Haikyuu due to Kyran's restrictions.
Correct.
We're staying away from spoilers for you, Kyran. But if you think about this, Hinata and his team have gone up against seemingly insurmountable odds over and over in the show. Now, I realize, yeah, I realize that that's not on the same scale as most of the characters we're going to be looking at. However, in the scale of the show it is placed in, it's huge. And not only does he not back down from challenges like that, he actually tends to thrive against them. And he pushes himself further. My example that I would bring up is the first half of season 4 with the training camp arc. Now, this is a different type of resolve, okay? This isn't like being willing to die to achieve something, because it wouldn't make sense in the context of the show. However, this is resolve, like, he was willing to completely humble himself. He was humiliated more than once at the training camp so that he could learn a new set of skills. And that was extremely hard for him. We watched that. That was hard for me to watch. I remember talking to Sage, and by extension also Ledge and Kyran, about how difficult it was to watch that with the level of secondhand embarrassment that you have to go through during that arc. But he continued on, and it actually built on his skills.
Okay. I understand all that, and that's the only real resolve demonstration I can think of. So, well, against tougher teams, yeah, you have to show up and stuff, and which he does. So, it's not that he doesn't have resolve.
My easiest demonstration of his resolve comes from when he confronts the left-handed spiker.
Ushiwaka. Either one is
More like
correct.
Ushiwaka.
He's like, you guys are
What?
coming from over here, and then we're coming from the junkyard, and we're still gonna kick your butts. So, on every team that they have faced, he has shown his resolve, whether it was he was headed to the bathroom or the water fountain and he bumps into somebody from the other team and he goes,
His
yeah, we're
greatest
winning the
enemy, the
tournament,
bathroom.
so bye, we're still winning. Or
And then he
they're
remembers he still has to go.
they're like, you're the middle schooler, right?
Reminds me of
Jim's
the
that way."
scene where he runs into everybody, where he runs into Ushiwaka, Oikawa, and Aone.
Yeah.
And he's just sitting there, like, terrified.
But the
so
best
funny.
thing about him and his resolve is that not only does he show it through his actions, but every opponent admits and recognizes
Yeah.
the resolve that he has. Doesn't matter if it's the iron wall and they want to completely and utterly crush and block him. Doesn't matter if it's the spiker who's going to destroy him. It doesn't matter who it is. His resolve is shown in confrontations and interactions with the other teams, and then it is recognized by the other teams. With certain individuals we have on our list so far, we don't necessarily have it recognized by everybody around them, versus with Shoyo Hinata, it is recognized by not only his teammates, but also by his opponents.
I would actually start. This made me think a little bit. I would actually start an argument for him in that case, because resolve in the
Moving our way up.
case, maybe resolve in the case of yourself when no others are at risk, even in reference to his own team. Technically, yes, but resolve in a case where lives are not at risk, where it's simply your pride and the victory. I think that takes like a stronger will to hold on to that resolve. Because I mean, if you think about it in our situation, like think about it in reference of us, regular people. No offense. Uh,
That's fine. I can't punch an alien into space, alright?
to give up one of our lives for a sibling, for a friend, is easier than for now with COVID and everything. The easiest example I can think of is when you're playing a game and the round and you're just really losing the round, and it's so easy to be like, well, well, we lost, or like one of the guys on our teams just sucks, so we're gonna lose. But instead, we're like, if that happens to Hanada or his team, like up until the last second, effort,
They go
absolute
100%.
effort. Yes, even in practice
the first
games.
episode. Literally
Yeah,
in the
for
first
sure.
episode. He had
Well,
zero
even
chance
outside
of winning.
outside of competition, still absolute effort up until the end, with the belief that we can bring this back.
Well, remember the moment where Hitoka? Yeah, Hitoka, I think was her name. Asked him like about him wanting to win or something, and she said, "Well, I'm sure you have a good reason." And he just kind of looked at her and he was like, "Does someone need a reason not to want to lose?" It was a really good moment.
Yeah.
Like it actually was, and that's applicable to real life. That's one of those things that you can apply to real life pretty easily. Hold on.
Personally,
hold on.
I'm
Every
still
nice thing
thinking
somebody
D
says.
tier. Whoa!
Let's not do that. That's a little bit.
Okay.
I
I
was
was
just
personally
like,
thinking
as everybody talks,
D-tier-
I'm just creeping
first
my
off,
way up.
D tier is
We're
not
getting up.
bad.
Oh wait! No, he'll kill me.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, not PhD.
Put that thing back where it came from, or so.
Okay, look. The reason I D tier, and it's not D tier isn't bad. Everyone we've picked on this list, aside from Trash, is someone with a large amount of resolve. Now, you guys, specifically Ledge, chose this character. I didn't have anything to do with it, so you had to give your reasons. But D tier is not bad. I cannot imagine not having more resolve than Haku or Zabuza.
Well, he's behind
I'm also
them.
looking at our list, and I don't see anybody who would be in D tier if Hinata is there.
Just put him in D tier. He's still technically below them. It's not like
Fine.
a huge jump
But
in difference.
I will point out that I believe part of the reason he's in D tier right now is due to your subconscious bias against sports anime,
What?
against
I love
action
Haku.
anime.
No, it's the differences between
It's my third favorite anime.
loss of life versus loss
Yeah,
of
loss of
self
pride.
honor.
It's the difference is what's at stake.
Yeah,
Okay.
everybody else in the series has loss of life or loved ones involved in their resolve
Yeah.
matrix versus Shoyo Hinata being
Yeah,
stuck in a
you're right.
sports anime where all they have is loss of self-respect.
Okay.
Yeah, and Kyran made a point to mean that means more than something like a death or whatever, but it still feels like less, whether it's more mentally because it's a hard choice to just stay positive and stay fighting until the last second.
So with that kind of resolve, you have to fight against your mind. With like Hinata's kind of resolve, you have to fight against your mind's want to just kind of like, it's not worth it, just give up. Whereas with the other kinds of resolve, you have to fight against your body, because your body wants to survive, it wants to live. So you have to fight against your like natural instinct to survive.
Okay.
That makes sense.
So trash tier?
Wow, you're just reinforcing Steele's point.
I'm kidding. We'll bump him up to D tier. Okay.
Not bumping him up. He was never going to be a trash tier.
What do you mean bump up?
That was created for one individual.
What individual? He doesn't exist.
Yeah, I don't know. I just see a
Alright.
void when I look at that tier, so it just must be somebody that my brain's blanking out. But moving on, we have Might Guy from Naruto.
Might God.
And I'm initially
You
going to
might.
put him in A, so everybody can give their initial thoughts.
That
Does
was actually
Athena
my
have to
initial
remove
thought
her
without
headphones
thinking
again?
about it.
Oh, quick disclaimer for Athena that in discussing
got
Might
it.
Guy, we're probably going to talk about some
We're definitely
going
going to talk about some endgame stuff.
That's fine.
Yeah.
I will.
All right, Athena has her 5-year-old earmuffs on now.
Let's see.
She
you
heard
know,
that. Oh no.
right, take it
No,
away.
we're fine.
Yo, I can't believe he dies. I'm kidding.
Oh my goodness.
He doesn't.
Imagine she just hears that and then she puts the headphones away really quick. She's like, I don't want to hear more.
Okay. Actually, yeah, my initial thought, without even diving into it, is A.
Might as
Was.
well.
That's actually every Sage. Hold on, that was like every one of our
I
thoughts
think so.
when we saw that scene. I'm gonna curse here, but I'm gonna beep it out. Actually, you should do it, Sage. It's so funny when you do it. That's do it.
What, as soon as he opens the gate? Yo! Holy he dead!
I mean, when he was literally stoned, it's like he's dead. He's not coming back. He's dead.
That hurt. Okay,
Ah.
okay, let me point out something. Me watching the show, and this isn't related to the resolve list, but me watching the show, I knew for a fact he opened the death gate, but that's all I knew. So the whole show I was watching it pissed off that guy was going to open the gate, do something awesome, and die.
I mean, I was
And then, of
prepared
course,
for
we
death.
see, like,
And then it hit, and they're like, well,
coolest
he's
thing
dead.
ever.
Wait a
There's just
second.
Naruto basically
Oh my
appears
God.
there, kicks it, which to think about that, and now this isn't about the resolve list, I'm sorry. To think
It's
about
fine.
how destructive those were the actual form that the particle style was taken off of. So the particle style was an incomplete form of that jutsu, which means those
Are they
disintegrate
gates?
even stronger than particle style.
No, the
So-
truth-seeking orbs.
The
Oh,
truth-seeking
okay.
orbs.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry. The truth-seeking orbs was at the end when he threw it at him, or whatever. And Naruto kicked it away. So yeah, so resolve.
So, wait.
Um,
Just a second. Sage, before we started this podcast, no more sidetracks. Also, Sage, partway through this podcast, let's talk about this cool thing
It's one
from
of the coolest
Naruto.
things in anime. You can't not talk about it. Come on.
You
I'm going
can.
on an adventure.
Everyone else
That's
didn't talk
clearly him
about
and
it.
Are you guys done?
No, I'll try to. Did you have something to say about it, Ledge?
Yeah. Well, who do you think trained Rock Lee to do a handstand of 500 laps around the village? Who do you think trained
I
all
mean, we
these
know,
self-rule
yeah.
stuff into him? The guy was also extremely weak and had barely any ninjutsu
Same
growing
story.
up, but still became the strongest taijutsu user ever.
Period.
Facts on facts. Up
Stacks
until
on
Naruto.
racks.
Huh?
Well, actually, yeah. I'm not sure,
No.
but
If Naruto can't use the gates, he's not stronger than him in taijutsu.
let's see.
Sage style?
Now, again, we're talking about events they've gone
It's not
through.
taijutsu.
The event, obviously, this is the best example with just the Death Gate event.
Increases his physical strength. though.
So, are you fighting to put him higher, Ledge? Which I'm not saying that's a problem.
I would
just
argue
curious.
S.
S. I actually
Definitely.
thinking he could easily be argued for S. But the problem is with his
Perhaps.
okay, again, and if you guys have seen Boruto or whatever, this isn't too spoilery, but whatever. He does lose his ability to use his legs completely.
Yep.
Forever. So that is the price, and his price, which he already accepted as death, quite clearly. This wasn't like a choji, like you take the pill, you'll probably die, and the
But
medical ninja are
It
able to save
was
you.
the
This
gate
is really it.
of death.
It puts the chakra into your heart or something. I don't remember
Yeah.
exactly what it does, but
Mhm.
you are literally dead. So
It was
he
one
gave
leg,
up his
though.
life 100%.
He lost
One?
one leg.
No,
He
it's not
he
lost.
didn't do a handstand or stand on one leg.
Oh,
He didn't
okay.
lose the other leg, but he
I
can't
thought
use
he
it.
couldn't use either, but you're right.
I mean, hopping around like a pogo stick probably
Okay,
isn't as good as just being in a wheelchair, to be honest.
We also have a very, very consistent showing of his resolve, just in his
Well, I was actually
always challenging Kakashi.
I was about to argue
always.
a little bit to the opposite effect, though. Like, he has a certain level of resolve that he demonstrates consistently, but you don't see him go nearly so far as, like, opening the death gate until literally end game.
That's because he didn't need to.
Okay, I'm going to argue for why
that's fair.
he shouldn't be an SS. And the reasoning is, when we're talking about resolve, we're almost always looking at characters who have gone through something terrible, like losing an arm, for example, or whatever, and continuing. Whereas Guy, actually, his fight, the terrible thing happened at the very end. And that disabled him. So he didn't. I know he can't get back up and fight after.
No, I was actually going to argue against that, because if you remember when we were discussing Rock Lee and what they say, and I actually looked up a little bit on the gates after that, fractures, muscle tears,
Yeah, and it's fighting through it. You're
actual breaking. Like, so that's with like the first 5 gates, and then he opens gates after that. His entire body, every single square centimeter of his body, had to be screaming in pain throughout the last at least 3 gates.
right. Okay.
Like every
I'm just
single
arguing against
bit.
SS tier. I'm not arguing.
I know. That's this is sort of my argument for S tier. Like every single bit of
Yeah,
his
no,
body.
no. I honestly am thinking S tier as well. We need to find some people to put in A
I'm serious.
No,
I
I
thought
think-
this would be
I
a
think
good
there's
one
a
for
lot
A
of
tier.
people.
There's actually a general amount of people.
I think my
So,
character will probably end up in A tier, but
Okay.
So S tier.
Where in S tier?
I think there, to be honest.
I was okay with here.
I would put him above Neji, but behind Gon.
Are you
Okay, why?
sure?
Well, I don't know. Like
Brace
he's been doing this his whole life. He's always been weaker.
That's
And
true.
it's odd. Like you were talking about the body taking more and more strain the more gates you open. That is technically his choice.
His
I
bones
realize
were
it's painful.
shattering during that.
No,
last
I
fight.
know it's like way more pain than Choji has gone through. Way more pain than probably 1, 2, gone. Maybe like.
It's more pain than what Rock Lee went through.
And more pain than what Rock Lee went through. But Rock Lee is up there for a reason. But
Right,
so
we know.
for Guy, as far as order goes, let's see. You wanted him in behind Gon, but in front of the other 2, right?
Yeah.
So
That's
we
what I
are
was saying.
agreed that Neji is ahead of Stark. Yeah. Actually,
Yeah.
I think so.
I think so.
That's
Yeah,
what-
I
We
can agree. Now that I
discussed
think
that.
about it more, because if you think about it, he does have the also resolve of. It's kind of similar to Hinata in the fact Hinata was short, and he chose volleyball, and he decided to train himself until he could jump ridiculously high. Guy was weak; he had no ninjutsu
Yeah.
basically,
and it's the
and
same
he trained,
story.
decided to become a ninja, and trained himself until he could become equivalent to other ninjutsu users just with his body. Just
Also,
with his
I
own
was
strength.
for some reason thinking of the final situation with Neji, and I should have really been thinking about the Sasuke retrieval situation because that's a better example of resolve.
That's what the picture's from.
No, I know. I was still imagining it though. So
Yeah.
the resolve against the spider, that's way more than sacrificing your life as far as.
I still think the final decision
Well, it
is a very heavy
yeah.
thing, especially in his
No,
type
they're
of
both
situation.
humongous examples, and a lot of these characters don't have 2 huge examples like that.
Right.
So, I
Uh,
like that. I like the order there.
I think
Everybody okay
I
with
think
that?
the order is pretty good. If you compare Adult Gon to Eighth Gate Guy, then the
Yeah,
only
it's very
difference
similar.
is Gon was an emotional resolve and Guy's was a professional one.
Oh, hold on. Chaos hasn't seen that far. Well, he knows that happens, but just don't go into detail.
I didn't.
Okay. So I believe we're all happy with where we have Might Guy. We have Hinata Hyuga.
Question:
from
Can we actually
Naruto.
do a different character so that Athena can get back in on this episode?
She
before
can,
it
she can
ends?
get
It's
in
not
on a
spoilers
Hinata.
for her.
No, she has not seen
We
the
don't have
actual
to
example we're
discuss
using.
anything about Hinata past a certain point, to be
That's
honest.
literally the picture, though.
The Naruto and Pain fight
Oh,
was a very key moment.
The rest, like the next 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10,
Are-
11, 12, 13. She can do all the next 13, so
Fine.
I would probably just hold off.
skip
on
to
that
the next turn. Call her back in.
Oh
Yeah.
my goodness.
one. Athena, you there? Okay, I got it. I'm waving as well.
So for those of you who don't understand, for ease of reference, we all have cameras so that we can see each other while we're doing this podcast. But Sage does not yet. And so I was trying to wave my arms to get Athena's attention, and so was Sage. The only one without a camera.
Well, there's a lot of characters coming up that have spoilers for me anyway.
Wait, really?
Oh, because
Like-
you haven't watched My
I
Hero
started
yet, have
it.
you?
I
You
started
just
it.
start.
How far are you into it?
She basically
Not
can't
20.
talk about most of what we're.
Okay.
So it doesn't
So that's
matter.
what I was about to message you guys
Okay, go to,
about,
like-
but I'll probably be tuning out for a little bit,
What
and
do
you
you
guys
want?
just message
Well,
me.
we're doing one more
when you
character
get-
this episode.
Okay.
Yeah, we can just do the 7 forward that she's definitely seen.
How about this?
Yeah,
That's
Okay.
what he
This.
meant. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Thanks,
All right,
guys.
guys. Last character for the episode, then. We have Spider-Man, aka Peter Parker, from the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
All
Initial thoughts.
actors,
Oh, yeah, I
all
haven't seen it. I'm
movies.
just kidding.
Okay.
all of them.
all
Tom
live
Holland,
action,
the other two.
all live action, and I guess
Tom
Animated.
Holland,
Into the
Andrew
Spider-Verse?
Garfield, and looks at
Tobey
smudged
Maguire.
handwriting on hand. Today Mackie? Okay. I hate all of you. All right, initial thoughts on Peter Parker though. Like, come on.
Thought,
Okay, so Sage is
C or
probably going to
B.
have the most to say on this one.
And the fact, okay, keep in
He's
mind this is
not
my
that high
favorite
on it.
hero. So if I say C or B, then like you realize that hurts me. I want him to be an A, but there's a reason he'd be in C or B compared to the
I
people in
thought the
those
Flash
lists.
was your favorite.
What? No.
No, that's
No,
his
it's
DC
always been
universe.
Spider-Man.
No, okay,
Spider-Man.
okay. So Spider-Man
I
is
couldn't even
quite
think of
literally.
it.
Cardboard drawing on the wall when he was 2 years old.
Yep, still there.
The wall's been destroyed.
So
Oof.
with Spider-Man, and actually, I'm not the one who put him on this list. That was Steele,
It was.
but I'll try to argue.
I thought
for
he
him.
deserved to be discussed.
All right, so in Homecoming, and this is going to be actually the cons. We're going to start with the cons.
I'm gonna set him here for now.
Homecoming. Yeah, that's fine. In Homecoming, he shows, I guess, moments of weakness and mental weakness, not necessarily strength.
He's 15
no.
in Homecoming.
Oh wow, you already fight me on it.
No, I just want to point out that he's literally
12.
just starting out in Homecoming.
Oh, I
You
know.
want to
this
take
is the
that as your
con in
example?
Homecoming. This is the cons in Homecoming, but in Homecoming, he shows situations of weakness, which is where he gets crushed by the building and is calling out for help from others. Now, that is kind of his turning point. I understand that.
Yeah, that
so that's
turned
the only
into
con.
a resolve moment.
Yes, yeah. I like that movie. I'm not bad.
It's a really good movie, actually. So's the second one, but the first one I think made more of an emotional impact on me.
Let's see. I'm also trying to think of some specific situations that he's been through. Now, he won't be through like huge pain like in anime or whatnot, but you know.
He has
actually,
his
the
moments
situation
in the
Photo
comics,
is
but
a
we
good
can't
one.
really discuss that because there's so many arcs.
Let's see.
I say,
What do you
if
guys
just go
think?
from the original Spider-Man movies, you have where he has to deal with the death of the Hobgoblin and the fact that the Green Goblin stabs him. Then he has to deal with Doc Ock dropping a building on him.
Andrew Garfield
Yeah,
Spider-Man
and also, I
goes
was
through
just thinking,
some stuff
I'd forgotten,
too.
but with the Amazing Spider-Mans, I think he might have even higher resolve. It's just let's see. They're all. I actually really like those movies. That's just me.
The first three movies were kind of all repeats for me. So it was, oh look, I have powers. Wham!
Oh,
What
the
about
introductions
me?
to each one.
So every single one kind of had the where do I fit in? What am I supposed to be doing? Theme going along with it. So like, he's dating MJ in the second one, and along comes the Venom suit, and he goes the bad boy route and has to deal with all of that. And it's like, oh look, I've got more powers, and I'm a bad. No, okay, now.
Man, dance.
The freaking finger guns. Hey. Hey.
Again,
So-
because. Yeah, go ahead.
So in the first three movies, it's kind of a repeat of wham wham wham, figure out his powers, move on.
Roasted.
But he does have some of the better villain fights in that one. Then if you jump into the second series, he has to deal with everybody's seen the Spider-Man series, correct? I'm not spoiling anything.
Yes,
Okay.
we've all seen it.
So
No, I haven't.
In the second series, you have to deal with the death of his girlfriend and the fact that he has to fight against the scientist he respects and I forget what the villain's name is. He's the one that turns into the lizard.
Wait, actually, I'm not sure.
I don't remember
Osborn.
his name either.
No,
but so
Osborn's
he
the
respected him and he respected the science and everything behind what he was doing, but he
Wait,
still
no,
had
never mind.
to fight him in the end.
I'm very wrong.
And then you take the new one where it's a very young Spider-Man in comparison to the other two. The other two were kind of like in college and or getting ready to go off to college in their respective age groups. But the newest Spider-Man, he's much younger. He's still trying to find his footing in a world where superheroes are a thing. Yeah. So I think the resolve that is shown by the younger Spider-Man in the fact that he keeps coming back, he has a building dropped on his butt, and he still comes back after asking for help, realizing it's not coming, and then finding the guts to move on and lift the building. And then he walks through fire at the end of that sequence where he has to pull the Vulture out of his exploding suit and everything. He literally gets burned and has debris and shrapnel flying towards him, and he has to pull him out of the suit. So the amount of resolve that he shows in that one, I think, is greater than in the previous 2 series with the other
I agree with
Spider-Man in it. Just from an age standpoint and from a visualization standpoint.
Okay, let me make a
Yeah.
couple points actually. So with what Chaos said, I think the newest iteration probably does have the most resolve. And so you put yourself in the mindset of being a 15-year-old. We're all much older than that at this point. You know, you're on Titan. You're quite like fighting hand to hand with Thanos. That's a tough thing to even be able to do,
Jeez.
but without still like to just
Yeah.
make your body move forward towards Thanos with, I believe, Power Stones at the time. So, just that choice, even though it doesn't cost him any huge injury or whatnot. I mean, it cost him something at the end, but as far as just
Mr.
making that
Stark,
choice is so
I don't
difficult.
feel
So,
too good.
although I
My-
was
my thing with-
C, I think B is actually good.
My thing with that
I'm still
sequence
thinking
right
C.
there that you were talking about with Spider-Man and Thanos, you have to take into account Thanos just dropped a moon
Yeah,
on Tony Stark,
Yeah.
and he goes, if you throw another moon at me, I'm gonna lose it. And Spider-Man's out collecting all the rest of the guys that were there, spinning them up in a web so that their unconscious bodies are out of the fight as he watches Tony Stark get hit by a moon and then jumps back into the fray.
Yeah.
Throughout that entire scene, like where he's like got in the Iron Spider suit and he's like trying to collect them all and rolling through the debris with the spider legs, I'm thinking of like what I picture is him just be like, "This is fine. I'm fine. This is fine. It's all fine. I'm on a weird planet. Gravity's weird. This man has a stone. A moon just fell. It's fine. I'll get these guys."
yeah. So I'm thinking B tier actually. After I've kind of talked it out, I was thinking C tier, but I think B and bottom of B is fine. I can't really put him ahead of.
If you were to
Tarzan.
have to take all 3 of the iterations of Spider-Man into account, I would put him in C. But if you focus more on the newer iterations of Spider-Man, with his interactions in the Civil War and his interactions in the Infinity Gauntlet saga, I would definitely be putting him in B.
Yeah. What do you guys think?
I don't have any solid
I like it.
argument to take him out of C. For some reason, I feel uneasy putting him up there.
C.
Or sorry, taking him out of B and into C. I don't have a good argument for it, so
Gotcha.
I think he's fine where he is.
No, I think that works.
Well, I think that'll wrap up this episode, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks again for sitting through our discussion. Again, if you have any opinions that differ from ours, let us know. Or if you have any characters that you don't see out there that you would like on the list, let us know that too.
Peace.